it's got everything that Ricky Hatton loves. I love being around not pretentious people, nice people, down to earth people, and I like a beer. I like to enjoy myself, and where better than Pattaya is one of the nicest places I think I've been to. I've been all over the world through my boxing and everything like this, and this is probably one of the best.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, how did you come to Pattaya, and how long have you been here?
Okay, I'm Adam AJ Judd. Some of you know me, some of you don't. I've currently lived in Thailand. It will be 6 years in April of this year. Wow, and I've been coming here about 11 years in total, before just on vacation or holiday, as those of you who are not American call it. I'm from Washington, D.C. in the States. I was actually born in Portsmouth and lived in Florida and other areas too. But long story short, back in America, I worked for a big retail company for 15 years since I was a young man. I'm 39 now. And I was laid off, made redundant, whatever you might call it, depending on where you're from. And I was given an entire year's pay in a single lump sum. I decided that the place that had always been my vacation destination for, the past like 7 years before that, I came about 3 times a year, was going to become my home. And actually though, when I first came here, believe it or not, I came here saying I'd stay here for 6 months and go back to work in the human resource field back in America.
I did the same.
After about 3 months, I ran into Brian Flowers from the Nightwish group here, who I've actually known for a decade. Even well before the Nightwish brand and the Nightwish bars, when he was first living here with PottyAddicts.com. And Brian approached me and said, AJ, you've always been a people person, you've been a talker, why not try working in a bar and being a bar manager? I'm like, hell no. Why would I want to run? You guys said the same thing.
I said the same.
Why would I want to work in a bar, drink every day, be in the same place, talk to drunks all day? Eventually I was convinced to do it. I said I would try it for a short while. 5 years later, I was the longest serving, well, one of the longest serving managers around. One of the longest serving for Nightwish, and one of the longest serving on Toy 6 by far. But I was looking forward to new challenges. After 5 years in any job, you start to get bored. And I said, you know what? Let's move this forward. Me and Brian had started talking in very late 2017 about the need for a real local news agency here. And we definitely feel there are some good other news agencies here that do some very good things, like Pattaya People and Pattaya One. But we felt that there was still room for those to kind of build more both local community and national and regional news. So eventually I managed to get myself out of the bar, and now I'm doing that full time.
Just before Christmas, I did a video, which is pretty viral, and I did it on Pattaya News, Pattaya Gossip. Just some stories I've heard from myself, I've heard from other people.
Okay.
I just want to go over them and see if there's any truth in them. Okay. First of all, I spoke about the electrical cables and the pipe for the flooding going in, and that it was all like a ruse to eventually it's going to for the Monorail or the tram system.
Okay.
Do you want to allude on that? Because I'll be honest with you, last night somebody sent me a pretty nasty message saying I was talking absolute rubbish, and nothing like that's never going to happen.
Okay, what I'll say first off is, so with the Pattaya News, we're not just an aggregator. We actually have our own people who are in City Hall, the police station, Sawang Borabin, hospitals, all event people that, we're connected with, even the fire department, 24 hours a day. We actually have our own reporter team. We run all this information by City Hall. So what I'm going to say today is not me talking out of my rear, so to speak. At the other side, if I feel stuff is just speculation or I'm not sure, I'm going to tell you that. Or even if I'm not sure I can talk about something that I might have heard, I'll say that too. So what I say about the tram and monorail is people can tell by the gigantic sign about it down by the entrance walking street. It's not just a pipe dream. Yes, they've absolutely been talking about this for 15, 20 years. Absolutely, I agree. It's not the first time this has come up. Yes, the Bot Bus Association is not going to like it. Here's the differences on why it's going to happen. They're pushing something called the Eastern Economic Corridor. The average person who comes to Pattaya has probably not even heard about it. But right now, about 80% of Pattaya's visitors are tourists. They want to move that to about 60% and get the other 40% from people coming here for business conventions, MICE, large conventions, and make also sports. There's so many sporting events. The Windsurfing International Championship is this weekend. Also, you've got Maya Music Festival and the Legends Music Festival in 2 weeks. You've got Harappa Bike Week, which has been around for a while. They're pushing more and more major events to get more diverse tourism to Pattaya. And that's not just, when you hear tourism is better in Pattaya, you always read the people online, it's horrible, there's nobody here. Depends on what you're looking at and the demographics. What I will say is that they're also focused on domestic tourism, ties from other parts of Thailand coming here, and the infrastructure for that. So the Eastern Economic Corridor, to be able to bring domestic ties and working ties quickly around town. It's not just about the guy who wants to get drunk on soy 6 getting around, it's everybody.
It's everybody, yes, everybody.
So what they're doing right now is they're in the process of inserting bigger drainage systems all throughout the city. That's why the road work is a pain in the neck right now. And moving most, but not all, of the cables underground in major parts of the city. It's not an easy job. They say it's going to be done by Songkran. I don't know. I think it's going to be another couple of months. The work that's already been done on Beach Road has been delayed, but we'll see where it ends up. Once that's done, then they've already started serious work of getting people to look at the tram system and the monorail system and how it's going to work. A lot of this money is coming from outside investors and outside investors outside of Thailand. That's a big difference from when they've talked about this before. Is the funds are available. We're not talking about Pattaya, just Pattaya leadership planning this. We're talking about significant international influences. I'm not going to name who they are, but anybody who's followed it is probably pretty aware of where some of the money is going to come from. As long as that money continues, and I see no reason it won't, I think by 2025, they say earlier 2023, but I think in the next couple of years, we're going to see some sort of system. They haven't 100% decided what it will be, but I'm pretty sure it's coming.
Okay, that brings me on to another question, along the same route. I heard a little rumour that Bali Pier, you're looking at turning that into like a cruise ship docking point. So now I've been on a cruise ship in the Gulf of Thailand quite a few years ago, maybe 20 years ago. I actually went to Koh Chang, Koh Samui on this cruise ship. But you can't dock actually in Pattaya because obviously it's not deep enough for the big cruise ships. I heard that they could be looking at that also.
It's been discussed, but to be honest, what they've really said right now is they'd like to see it, but there's no definitive work being done towards it at this exact moment. That could change by the time you watch this video. But at this exact moment, there's not. The monorail and tram, they've already brought in some very expensive people to go ahead and draw plans. They've had several community meetings on it. They're doing a lot of work towards it. They're putting signs up. They're very serious about it. In the future, we probably will see something like that. In Pattaya, maybe. They've also talked about Lam Chabang and another area in Sadahi.
I think they use a port there, don't they? Because I actually went from, when I went on this cruise ship, I actually went from Pattaya. But I can't remember where it was so long ago.
It's, they have some, but
I'm pretty sure it's where the American warships used to come in and dock.
By Sadahi. The thing is, for right now, there's no definitive plan for it, but they've said it's would like to have in the future, so it's highly possible. The same as they've also said highly possible is a cable car for Pratamnak Hill. But again, there's nothing definitive about it right at this moment. It's just speculation.
If they're going to build a cable car for Pratamnak Hill, is that just for Pratamnak Hill?
Yes.
That sounds cool. That sounds cool.
Well, right now, from what they said. Again, there's nothing
Another
concrete.
exclusive there. Another thing, this is quite an important question.
Okay.
The rumours have been about for many years. Walkie Street. What is the situation with Walkie Street? Everybody kind of knows that there's some I mean, okay, Arthur Walker Street sits on Crown Land.
Yep.
Will it stay or will it go, in your opinion?
I think they're going to find something. This is me speaking just personally. I think they're going to find something to try to please all parties. Even if they've written up a lot of different plans, they've written up a lot of different stuff. The most popular ones was basically building a lagoon around the right-hand side of Walking Street that's on the water so that it fits the beach rules, that there is a beach available. A couple weeks ago when we talked about this, I was kind of leaning towards that they might go ahead and be pushing this forward further. But something recently changed just in the past 2 weeks that makes me think maybe not. And that's the fact that, as has been publicized, they're now moving the drainage and underground cable work to all of Walking Street and spending some significant money and time putting brand new drainage on the right-hand side of Walking Street. So it's tough to say.
Wouldn't they do that anyway?
Possibly.
Yeah, it's something to do anyway, yeah. I mean, you wouldn't want, if you've got like a nice beach area with restaurants on that front, you wouldn't want cables, making it look ugly.
It's true, but it's really tough to say. There's a lot of different people with a lot of different money invested. It is crown land, or public land, I prefer to call it. But because it's been there for so long and there's so many people with a lot of money invested in it, a lot of very powerful, deep-seating families that have very close connections all through Thailand. And at the end of the day, I think everybody wants it to kind of work together as they realize what a tourist draw is. Time will tell. I know that's not the best answer, but I haven't heard anything definitive right now at this point, we're going to do it.
No, just before we go any further, was it 5 days ago?
Well,
we went to the Robin Hood Tavern.
Keeping track of time here is crazy.
It's 5 days ago, yes. We went to the Robin Hood Tavern and we met up with Ricky Hatton.
Yep.
And you had a few words with him.
I did.
Watch this now.
We're going to ask you just a couple questions tonight. We're doing an event here at the Robin Hood Tavern. What's the event sort of about this evening?
Nothing really. I mean, really just, I know Gaz, the owner, I've been coming to Pattaya for maybe 10 years now. And
me too.
And through obviously coming over that often, getting to know the people, getting to know the locals and getting to know everything like that. And Gaz turned around and said, there's lots of people who've been coming in the bar. Was Ricky in? I believe Ricky was in. And it's decided to just do an evening where I could talk to them about my career and my life, and a few funny stories along the way as well. But no, it's good. I have a lot of fond memories from in Pattaya over the years, and it's really, really nice and pleasing when I come all this way and people want to come and hear me speak. So it's, even though I'm retired, it's still a nice touch.
It gives you sort of like a nice working vacation, basically.
Yeah, of course it does. Yeah, I mean, I first started coming over here years ago when Man City played in Bangkok in a pre-season tour, and I come over and I fell in love with the place, and I've been coming ever since.
Similar. I came about 10 years ago, fell in love, moved here 6 years ago. So I guess I'll talk about Pattaya first then, since you brought it up. What have you seen change in the 10 years you've been here? Do you like, obviously you still love Pattaya, do you like some of the changes that have happened?
Yeah, you can see there seems lots of roadworks at the minute, so they're obviously trying to, and on the back road there's lots of development work going on, but I just, I love it. It's everything that it's nice, down to earth people. The local people, most humble, pleasant people. You could wish to meet. And obviously, the nightlife is good as well. So,
I've heard.
So the beaches are great. It's so it's got everything that Ricky Hatton loves. I love being around not pretentious people, nice people, down to earth people, and I like a beer. I like to enjoy myself and. Well, better than Pattaya is one of the nicest places I think I've been to. I've been all over the world through my boxing and everything like this, and this is probably one of the best.
Do you run into often people on the street recognizing you, and how do you deal with that here in Pattaya?
Yeah, more and more Thai people, Pattaya people, recognise me because of the amount of years that I have been coming. But no, there's lots of there tends to be a lot of Brits, a lot of Australians, you know, a few South Africans, you see, and you know, do get recognised quite a bit. Even an American chap, you know, asked me for a photograph today, so it makes me feel, even though I've hung the gloves up and not the spotlight as much as years to go, it's when people, you know, from this part of the world recognise you, it is, you know, very, very pleasing, and makes me, you know, remember all the good days, because I'm very, very fortunate and proud to say I fought the best, you know. So.
Well, that brings me up to, some people often say, is Pattaya a safe place to go? Are there any hazards or dangers in Pattaya, etc.? What I guess I would ask you is, have you ever had any issues in Pattaya? Has anybody ever tried to step up to you? Probably not. I certainly wouldn't.
No, not one bit. You know, I just find the people are just there to enjoy themselves. They're just there to have a good time. You know, the locals, there's no air that graces to them. You know, it's I've not had one bit of trouble since I've been here. And to be honest with you, I've not seen one bit of trouble since I've been here. Not only have I not been involved, I've never seen it. You know, I mean, back in the UK, if you go night clubbing or go on a night on the tiles,
the same from where I'm
nowadays
from.
You tend to see scrapping everywhere, unfortunately. And there's lots of in and around Britain now, and in Manchester, I'm very sorry to say, a little bit of knife crime going on, and you know, and stuff like that. And if people want to, you know, it surprises me why people want to call Pattaya. You know what I mean? It's just a different way of life. You know, you've got the mopeds where you're going in and out, and the traffic. I wouldn't like to drive over here myself.
We talked earlier. We both like to drive.
That's what they're used to. That's what it is right there. I mean, you can't imagine the roads being like that back home. I mean,
No.
That's what it is around here.
I like to control chaos.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. You know, it's very busy, bubbling city. You know, nobody can say a bad word to me about it.
What about? So I'm going to ask you a question. About a year ago, I interviewed, actually in this same establishment at a similar event, Frank Bruno. And Frank Bruno mentioned when I talked to him that you guys have known each other for many years and are friends. So I was just curious. I just want to say, when was the last time you saw Frank? Or
last time I saw Frank, a few months ago, he came down to my gym. He did a little bit of training with me. But Frank's normally over practically the same time. I did a talk last year at the Retox Bar, and I think the year before that, I was over and I went to watch Frank at the Retox Bar, and we've been friends for years. We do a lot of work together. The Frank Bruno Foundation, which helps people with mental health, as me and Frank had problems in that area. And yeah, you know, I consider Frank a very, very good friend.
He was very, very humble, and his stories, which you brought up, his foundation, really resonated with me from that. Last question, because I know we've got an event in a couple of minutes. What are you most excited about this year in the world of boxing? This is what your fans want to hear, and boxers specifically, who are you excited about this year?
To be honest with you, I think to speak for most, the heavyweight division is always the most attractive division, and you know, we've got Anthony Joshua just won his world titles back. Mm-hmm. Tyson Fury, the unbeaten lineal heavyweight champion of the world, if you like. I think Joshua's just got his belts back against Ruiz. I think Tyson's fighting Wilder February 22nd. I think if Tyson can win that, I think that is an absolute must. It must happen. I think, you know, Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn have got to put the differences aside and get their asses in gear and get together and get that fight, because it's a must. It needs to happen. So I think that is the biggest. That'll be the biggest fight of the year.
What about, I said last question, this is a real last question, because you brought up Tyson Fury, and I'm also a fan of WWE. What do you think about Tyson's work with them?
Well, I think Tyson is a larger than life character, you know. He'll have a go at everything, you know what I mean. Tyson there's nothing he'll shy away from, there's nothing he's not game for. And you know, that's what, you know, he's going in WWE, you know what I mean, and because he's a character, a larger than life character. But he's using the WWE in order to help plug our sport and plug himself as well. You know what I mean? You know, and obviously, you know, he wants to get established in America and the United States. You know, so what better to do than the WWE, because the WWE is massive, from an entertainment point of view.
And their promotion.
There's no organisation probably bigger from an entertainment perspective than the WWE. So Tyson, you know, having a little pop up the wrestling, that's not bad for Tyson, and it's not bad for boxing, to be honest with you.
Good to hear. All right, Ricky, thank you for your time. Thank you, guys.
Ricky, very nice guy. Very, very down to earth, I would say. Salt of the earth.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Really nice guy.
Likes a beer or two, like myself. Not today, but likes a beer or two.
And I've been off the beers for 6 days now. 6 days, believe it or not. Right, my next question. The Avenue Plaza, which is the Avenue on Second Road. As you've all heard now, I've mentioned it in the last one, that they're going to turn it into, or the plan is like a Nana Plaza. What's your opinion on this? How do you think he'll do? I was going to say to you, by the way, when I was going to ask him about it, but it's public news now that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So
one thing I will note here, yes, this is me with my HR background, is I'll say that a lot of these opinions are mine and not necessarily those of the Pattaya News. Hint, hint. All right. So with the Avenue Plaza, I know the gentlemen that are involved with it. I've seen the plans. I've seen the work that's being involved. I think it could work. With the right devotion, the right time from it. A lot of people are saying the last thing we need is more bars in Pattaya, but contrary to belief, many bars are doing quite well.
Yeah.
Your bar seems to be busy most of the time too. Many bars are not. It depends on the owner, the promotion, the staff, the engagement. Like any business in the world, 80% of businesses fail. I think knowing the guys that are involved, first of all, let me go ahead and say this. There are a couple myths out there. Myth number one. It doesn't have an entertainment license. I can tell you, as I've talked to the guys involved, they do have an entertainment license. It is available. The owners, the legal owners of the complex are willing to put in entertainment venues in there. In fact, they've had them before. There's been a couple nightclubs in there that, for whatever reason, haven't done that well, including a private nightclub too that was a members only. They weren't promoted that well, so they're not there anymore. But it is legal to put in a nightlife venue in the Avenue Plaza. Right now, I mean, let's be honest. If you guys have been in Pattaya for any extended period of time, most of the businesses, not all, but most have struggled in there.
yes.
And this would probably get people to actually climb a flight of stairs if they're like, wow, that place looks popular. Let me go up there and take a look. Oh my God, look at those beautiful women up there. Oh my God, this is a show bar. You're probably going to go upstairs versus climb 3 flights of stairs because, oh, look at this. There's discount shoes on the 3rd floor. No offense to discount shoe sailors, but most people are not going to climb 3 flights of stairs for it. Do they have the money for it? Knowing the people behind it, yes, they do have the money and the capital. In fact, the person behind is very good at raising capital in Pattaya, and he's a very smart businessman. I know him fairly well. I wouldn't say we're like best friends, but I know him. And so bottom line, knowing him and knowing that he's had several projects go through already, I think it's going to move forward. This is me personally. I don't know, if it's going to move forward by April, but I do think it's going to move forward. Knowing how Thailand is, I think there's going to be some delays, but I do think they're going to push forward.
Yeah, I know, and it's definitely going to happen. It's going to go in ahead. It's definitely going to happen. Right. Okay, now this one's a really important question again.
Okay.
There's a lot of rumours going around that we do have a drought here at the moment. I've looked at the reservoirs, Lake Mapachan. That is low, that's seriously low at the moment. Yep. Critically low. I've heard that the locals, I'm coming to Songkran question here. Is there a possibility that Songkran could be cancelled this year? None of us know this, but the locals are talking about it, aren't they? They're talking about doing it for one day.
The expats that live here and people that dislike Songkran are not going to like my answer. No, short answer. Is it possible they might try to rein it in some more? Yes, but The simple fact of the matter is, for Thai people, this is their biggest. It's bigger than New Year's. It's bigger than Christmas.
Huge.
It is their biggest holiday of the year. I understand why a lot of permanent local expat residents dislike it so much. For some bars, including the Nightwish Group, it's one of the busiest weeks of the entire year.
I'm presuming it's going to be for us as well.
For other businesses, though, it actually hurts them. I know many people in the restaurant industry that say it actually hurts them because many of the regular visitors leave town or don't want to walk around. Bottom line is the drought going to affect Songkran? No. Is it possible they may go ahead and make some more restrictions? Yeah. In the past few years.
Because I mean, Pattaya, this time I think it's been on for 9 days.
Well, let's look at this. So, I first came here for Songkran a decade ago, and in that time, they've really, and remember, I ran a bar on Soy 6 for 5 years. In the past few years, the police and law enforcement has done an actually commendable job in most areas, stopping it when the sun goes down. Yes, somebody might say I was still hit by a random bucket somewhere. Perhaps, but 95% of the bars stop at sundown.
Yes.
Police actually go around pushing out buckets, taking your buckets, warning you. Really, Songkran, it's 9 days, but what it really is 4 hours a day, from about 2 till about 6:30, except with the big exception of the final day, the 19th. The other problem is the 19th has always been Pattaya's festival. And a lot of people say, why not just celebrate it the 13th to the 15th like the rest of the country? Well, business and tourism, remember, tourism is domestic, not just overseas. And a lot of people come here for Songkran, foreign tourists too. Yes, mostly the party crowd, but they come in town. So the reason they do the 13th to the 15th here, that's the national holiday for everybody. The reason they do the 19th, to be perfectly honest, is to give time for the domestic tourists to come back down and have another party and spend some money.
So it's like extending into the local.
So guys know, but in my opinion, Songkran won't be canceled. Last thing on that though, for the past couple years, again, I don't see it happening, but I know they're starting a push for it. There's been an anti-alcohol, restriction of alcohol organization that's been pushing very, very heavily. Last year, they almost got it through to ban sales of booze on Songkran. They were really shooting just for 1 day, for the 13th, to try to go ahead and limit road accidents in the country. I don't see it happening feasibly because of the effect it'll have on tourism, but I am saying that it has been discussed, and I know that group is starting to look at that again going into Songkran.
Okay, Adam, my final question. Give us your opinion on the future of Pattaya.
So the bottom line with the future of Pattaya is they're going for, and they being the leaders of both the city and of Thailand, are going for sort of a central hub for Thailand. A place, for one, it's always going to be the closest beach area, whether you like the beach or not, to the Bangkok area. So you're always going to get that daily traffic. They're looking for a place to go ahead and combine. Distracted there for a minute with music going by. They're looking for a place to combine, kind of like Vegas or Miami, the best in both MICE, conventions, business, tourism, nightlife, golf, sports, family resort
Something
style.
for everybody.
Something for everybody. They realize the demographics have changed, and they're, as I mentioned earlier, they're trying to change it themselves a bit by reducing the level of pure tourists here and getting more people here for business and sports events. So you're always going to have the nightlife. That's not going anywhere. You're always going to have that party atmosphere. In fact, you know, they've even talked about in the past couple months, it's not going anywhere with that right now, but officially expanding the closing hours or expanding the entertainment zones in the city to possibly other areas. I think the future of Pattaya is bright. I think the people who say that, you know, it's done, it's going away, some of those people just have rose-colored glasses. Many of them haven't been here in a while. Many of them are negative on the city. I've seen so many changes myself in the past couple years. I mentioned how many business owners here that are opening their eyes to being able to go after different demographics. or building a strong brand loyalty like you've done here, or the Nightwish Group has done, or Insomnia has done, or Nasha India Disco has done. They're building a very strong brand loyalty with their customers and a return loyalty. So you're seeing a lot of people go back there. It's definitely changed in terms of a place for a person who has a very, very limited pension to come here and live in retirement and live like a rock star on a very limited funds due to a variety of factors. And I'll be the first person to say I read all the comments, and yes, many of them are negative. I do agree that some things are in Thailand's control, some are not. The currency in many people's home countries, including my own, are tough against Thai currency. I think it's bright. I think those who are looking for a family resort, and I know people joke about family friendly. I've said this, I've never seen so many families in Jomtien, and a lot of people do not realize how many things there are. And by the way, we may get a third, another spec rumor, but when we saw the background, a third world-class water park in the Naklua area in the next couple years.
Really?
And we talked about this, they may be looking at an amusement park as well. But this is all going to be in conjunction with still having a world-class nightlife, still having a party atmosphere, a strong expat community. Demographics are changing, but if you want a city full of beautiful women, great nightlife, and lots of fun, Pattaya is still a place.
And it always will be. Adam, thank you very much for coming and speaking to me. Hopefully we can do it again. Also, I'll leave a link in the description for the Pattaya news.
Okay.
And you can catch up with Adam there, read a lot of the stuff he writes. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Adam, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you guys.
See you again.